Hello, friends. We are so excited to be doing E is for Ethiopia today. And we have our friend Rudy who's here today who is willing to chat with us about Ethiopia. She is friends with a dear friend of ours. And so we are so excited to get to know her and get to know her home country. Thanks so much, Rudy. So yeah, I'll turn it over to you to share whatever you would like.
So I'm actually from Ethiopia. I was born and raised there until I was 12 years old. It's a beautiful country. We have so many different cultures and so many different languages that it's so hard to just put it in one ball and just be like, oh, this is Ethiopia. So just depending on like different holidays or different tribes or different cultures, everything changes from like simple things as different foods, different dresses, different hairstyles, different just cultures, but something that unites all of us is just how we're so hospitable and so inclusive and loving and family oriented.
So cool. I love that. We were in the picture book we listened to this morning. It was talking a little bit about some of the different cultures, and the author mentioned that she was learning more about the hairstyles and things. So I'd love to hear about some of that if you're willing to share.
So I'm from this tribe called Amara, and for us, it just, again, even in the Amara tribe, there are different regions and different hairstyle that signify different things. I might not know a lot, but growing up, we were just put in braids like these and some beads.
So fun.
We do box braid. These are box braids. And then we do cornrows, different styles, mainly like braids.
You're
mainly
so
braids.
beautiful. I love it. Super.
Yeah. But they're like different styles and different designs that they do. And I'm sure it signifies a lot of things. Because growing up, we just loved looking at it and just feel like, okay, so like that one and then that one. And we were always obsessed with the beads.
They're beautiful. I love it. So fun. Very cool. Tell us a little bit about some of the foods in Ethiopia.
Ooh. Okay, so food-wise, there are different types of food, different cultures, different tribes again. Mainly though, a lot of people during holidays so mainly holidays, we have this thing called dorowat. So it's a stew, it has chicken and eggs, like boiled eggs in it. And it comes in different forms. If you want it spicy, we call it what. And if it's like a yellow, lighter taste that's less spicy, we call it alija. And we have that sauce. We have lamb sauce, the same idea if you wanted a stew, but we don't put eggs in lamb. And then if you're from like other different tribes, there's some things called like kitfo, which are like ground beef. I don't know if you've ever had it or seen it before.
We haven't had that one. We've had some Ethiopian food. We are vegetarian though, so we're not familiar with it sounds like it's unique.
So the beauty about a lot of Ethiopian foods, and I think a lot of people are gravitating to Ethiopian food nowadays, is because during our fasting season, if you're fasting, we do a vegan diet. So we have different vegetable platters. Okay. So we have lentils, we have collard greens.
Yeah, we've had a few of the lentils, which are delicious.
Green beans and carrots, cabbage, and then we have sauces as well, made from different types of I don't know what they're called, but split peas. Mm-hmm. And again, if you want it spicy, they make it into a what, and then if it's like something lighter, we call it a bija.
Awesome.
Usually the lighter ones are like given to kids just to start them off.
Work them up a little bit.
And then we just like switch them up. That's how I grew up, at least.
Awesome. So are the spicy ones more common if you were in a group of adults, for instance?
Yeah. I mean, and again, it depends on what you like as well. Like my sister who's older than me, she'd rather eat that licha than eat the sauce part, like the spicy ones. And I'm the total opposite of her. I'd rather eat the spicy one. So depending on what you like and what you eat.
Yeah, totally. I'm Indian, so we eat a lot of spicy
I was
food.
gonna
So it's
say.
kind of like that. I feel like you give kids like slightly less spicy things and work them up
Yes.
a little bit.
See, that's
So.
why I like Indian culture as well. It's like so easy to like understand because even the spices sometimes it's
Yeah,
easier to yeah.
for sure.
Because the amount of spices that you guys put in one dish
Yes,
is
so
kind
many.
of the same idea. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's what
even the
it seemed
simple
like.
sauce,
Even when we were making the little snack earlier, there were like
the
tons of
double
spices and just like
yeah.
and this little crispy
But
stuff.
when you just look at it, it just looks like, it's just sauce. And
Right.
it's just like, oh, the amount of spices that are in there.
They pack a punch.
Yes. It's good. It tastes so good.
And is injera pretty common for all meals or?
Yeah, so injera is it's like the bread of whatever we're eating. Again, with different cultures, different things, but majority of the cultures do use injera. And that's the
It's like a spongy
large
bread kind of. Yeah.
yes, it's I think like it's pretty much like the size of a tray sometimes. It depends again. And then it's kind of spongy. It's different because in this country the injera comes in like a very spongy texture, but the real injera is really not spongy.
Oh, interesting.
And it's more sour.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right,
So,
because it's fermented, almost like a sourdough, right?
yes, because they leave it for 4 days and then they make it. But I think here they don't use the same thing because we use teff. It's the grain that we use to make it.
You guys remember?
So depending on
Okay, cool.
see, it just depends. But that's the big difference that I've seen between like eating injera here and having it from back home.
Okay.
It's just the sour and it's way thinner and it's not spongy at all. It's like it cooks off very and it's very thin and light.
Oh, okay. So more like a thin pancake, like a crepe almost or something, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Minus the sweetness.
Awesome. That's very cool. And it sounds like from just different things I've read, it's usually used as a plate itself, right? Or like as a platter. So you put everything on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You know how in Indian culture we have like the naan?
Uh-huh.
So instead of it being on the side, we put it on the we put it on the plate first, and then we pile all the sauce on top, and then we try to use like the edges to eat whatever, and then we have rolled up ones that just like sit on the side, so you can just pick it up and eat it as well.
So fun. That's very cool.
And you eat with your hands all the time.
Awesome. And is there a specific hand that you're supposed to eat with generally, or?
So you're supposed to eat with your right hand because technically speaking, the left in some cultures are used for cleaning yourself. So you have, majority of the time, the older generation will look at you crazy if you start eating with your left hand. So just
that's how it is in Indian culture too, which is what I was wondering. So
the what we always eat with our right hand.
Okay.
And it's rude. I don't know if it's just my family or my side, but it's rude to hold the injera with one hand like paper and just eat it. You just have to put it on the side and like have respect for food. So it's all about respect too. Even when you're eating, like you have to respect the food that you're eating and putting in your mouth.
And it seems in Indian culture, I know that it's important to, even though you're eating with your hands, you're not supposed to make a big mess and like, with the respect, you're supposed to be pretty clean and like have your own little area. And so
exactly with the rolls and how you just put it in your mouth.
That's neat. Very cool. Fun. Do you guys have some questions that you would like to
ask? Yeah, any questions?
I have questions.
Okay.
The spices.
Okay, go ahead.
What kind of spices do they put in the sauce?
So it depends on what kind of sauce you're making. There's something called barbare if you want to make it spicy. It's this red pepper. Like they dry it and then they grind it up and then they dry it again. And then it turns into, I wish I could just bring it and show it to you. It's really red. And then you can just put it in the sauce while you're making it. And then that makes the whole thing red and a little bit spicier. The more you cook it, the less spicier it gets. But that's one. In my family, we grind up ginger and garlic just to add some taste and flavor into whatever dish we make. What else do we put? We also put we called it but it's turmeric. So if you want to make the yellow type, we tend to use turmeric. But again, I think the preparation is different. But sometimes in my family, we do go to an Indian store and find the turmeric because it's so similar.
Yeah. And you can get this giant bag for like $2.
Exactly. So it just depends on what you're trying to make. But those are like some spices, like some ideas.
Very fun.
How big is Ethiopia?
How big is it?
Like how many?
How many people here? I can do a quick Google search.
Oh yeah.
I'm not remembering off the top of my head.
Right now, when I grew up in the capital city, there was not a lot of people where like my neighborhoods and stuff. It was just so quiet and very sparse. But I kind of went back the first time after 6 years, and it just became so overpopulated because I believe like people from the countryside are coming to the city to work because it has more opportunities. So the city, Addis Ababa, which is the capital, it's pretty congested now.
Interesting.
It's not like before.
So you've seen that even in your lifetime where it's
and it's like every year it's different, and I love the progress too because a lot of buildings are being built, a lot of things are being opened, from restaurants to hospitals to small boutiques. So it's becoming more convenient for you to just stay there and live, which makes sense that the people from the countryside are moving towards the city.
Yeah, for sure. Google tells me that it's about 110 million people, so about a third as many people as the U.S. So
there you go. Now I learned something today.
I mean, I wouldn't have expected you to know that off the top of your head.
That would be so.
Tell me about schooling in Ethiopia. What are the schools like, or how are they set up?
Okay, so when I went to school there's two, just like this country, there's public school and then there's private school. So I had the opportunity to go to a private school. Everybody wears uniforms no matter what private or public it is.
It was like that in Australia too.
Unlike this country though, when I went to school there, we were assigned, at the beginning of every school year, the kids are assigned a class and a letter. So if you were in, let's say, 5th grade, you'll be like, okay, Rudy, you are in 5A. So that will be your class for the whole year. So instead of you just picking up your stuff and going to different classes, the professors that are teaching you or the teachers that are teaching you change classes.
Oh,
so you have so we have a schedule that we get.
And your science teacher.
Yeah. So we all have schedules depending on A, B, C, or D. And then we are given that at the beginning of every year. Also included like the books that we need and how many notebooks that we need to buy. We don't have lockers or places to like leave our stuff. So when we start classes, we just go to our assigned class. We have, my school, I went to School of Tomorrow. We have assigned seats that our professor gives us. And that's the seat that you get for the whole year. And we leave our book bags and stuff. So during break times or lunch times, they lock the doors. But other than that, we have a pretty set schedule. I remember we had, I believe, like 6 to 7 classes a day. And they broke it up into twos. So we would have like 2 in the morning. We would have like a 15-minute break so we can like eat our snacks and just enjoy the fresh air. And then we'll go back for 2 more. Then we'll have like our longer lunch break for an hour. And then we'll go back again and we'll take 2 more classes. And then our final break, which will be at the end. And then we'll finish with like 1 class.
Okay.
So 7 class a day.
It's sort of like us. We sort of had that because we had like morning journals and then like usually and then we had recess for 20 minutes and then we have math and usually ours is minutes and then we have reading and sometimes more science if we didn't finish earlier, and we usually have like 20 minutes.
Right at the end, and then you finish it off.
Yeah, and then
Yes.
we just have like pack up and stuff.
That's dope.
It's fun
That's
seeing how schooling can be similar in a lot of parts of the world, huh?
Yeah.
And then something they also add over there is we are taught in 2 different languages. So if we are, example, we learn English, and then we have Amharic. And then if we have math, even math, we would have math, and then we would have the Amharic version, even though math is a universal language. we would have
both. You have everything in
in
both
different languages. Yes.
Oh, wow. That's very cool. And does English start right from the beginning, or like right from when you first start school?
So in School of Tomorrow, the school that I went to, they were really keen about us learning English at a very young age. So they made a huge, till this day, I'm so grateful that I went to that school, because just the same way that they thought you guys taught us Amharic, they were so strict about us learning English. And at times, like in English class, we would not be allowed to speak in Amharic.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes even when we're playing, they encourage us to speak English so we can get used to having conversations outside of class.
Yeah.
And then they would have like dictations and quizzes and pop-up things, and we were taught how to like understand. We would get a dictionary. This is like when I was young. We would have dictionaries, and we'll pick like words from the dictionary, or the professor would give us words. And then by the end of the week, they'll just do like a pop-up. And then she will say the words, and we will write it down in English so we can be able to spell the right way and still hear it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So
Wow, that sounds intense.
It was really intense, but it was good because when I moved to this country, everything became so easy to blend.
Yeah.
And just adapt.
That's very
So
cool.
I appreciated that.
And speaking of education, it seems like the literacy rate has been improving quite a bit in Ethiopia in recent years. Do you have any thoughts on that, or how that's come about, or anything else?
The only thing I would think of right now is just the diversity, or just the amount of people that are moving from all around the country to Ethiopia. I'm sure like more schools, sorry, it's like coming in now. More schools are seeing the importance of not only just teaching kids Amharic, but also making sure that they know more of other languages. So I'm sure it has to do something with just progression and just having different cultures coming into, especially in the city. So but it's like a necessity now, just to know and understand, especially since our main attraction is tourism. You would kind of want to know how to speak English, just so it's easier for people who are touring, because chances are 9 times out of 10 the person is going to speak English. So
very cool. And one final question that I have, you had mentioned fasting before. I'd love to hear more about that.
So fasting depends on the religion that you're following. So if our 2 main religions in Ethiopia are the Greek Orthodox or Orthodox, and then the Muslim.
Islam.
Yeah. So depending on what religion you're following, during the Orthodox fasting, you go full vegan. There's different fasting as well, like Eastern fasting. I'm not Orthodox, so I can't speak much. I'm just going with what my grandma taught me. So there's different fasting, but during those fastings, you go complete vegan. So whatever you eat, whatever you consume is straight vegan. I think some add fish, but if you're going to go with a stricter cultural side, it's just strictly vegan.
No dairy.
No, nothing. Like, it's so strict that when it's fasting season back home, you can just tell, because even the restaurants are different. Like, all the meat places that are run by Christian, because we have butchers there where you can just go and get your meat, even those are closed during fasting season.
Wow.
And then during the Islam fast, it's called Ramadan, and for them it's completely different. You just don't eat anything for the whole day, and then you wait till the sun sets, and then you break fast with the feast of whatever your family is making. So I don't think they have like rules about like what you can and cannot eat. Again, I'm not sure.
Right. I think it's more timing.
But I just know like you
Right.
cannot drink water
Mhm.
or eat anything the whole day until the sun sets.
Uh-huh. So cool. Do you guys have any other questions?
Yeah.
Do you fast like every week or something?
So it depends on what kind of fast is coming. Like example, just recently they did the Eastern fast. So until Easter came, they fasted for 55 days, I think. So for 55 days, they had a whole vegan meal, prayed, and just followed their rules of what fasting is. And then during Easter, they break the fast by eating the meals that I was telling you guys about. So it can be like doro wat and stuff with meat, and our butter is called kibe. So whatever sauces that you make, you add that in there so you can just break fast.
Very cool.
So it just depends.
That's neat.
But there's also for the Orthodox, it's actually a good question because sometimes they fast on Wednesdays and Fridays, I believe, of every week. I don't know why, but it's a good question to ask my grandma later on.
I love that.
Yeah.
Anything else, guys? Okay. Rudy, is there anything else that you would like to share that you think defines your beautiful country?
Well, what I love about Ethiopia the most is like the diversity that we have in different cultures, the different languages. Even the shirt that I'm wearing today, it's funny. These are like our letters
Oh, cool.
and our numbers. So we have our like cool letters and numbers, different languages, beautiful people, beautiful culture, so many holidays. And something that's cool actually that I found this year is that we follow a different calendar, the Gregorian calendar. So right now in Ethiopia, it's 2012.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's always cool celebrating holidays because we end up having 2 of each holiday when you think about it because our calendars don't match with the American calendar. So like example, Christmas here is December 25th. Christmas back home is January 7th.
Oh, uh-huh.
So it's just different. Like Easter is like a week apart.
Uh-huh.
So it's like I think the 19th of April is Eastern here, and then the next weekend is Easter there.
You get to celebrate Orthodox holidays as well as the Western holidays.
Exactly. That's the one cool thing about being a diaspora of both. It's just like we get to celebrate 2, except for birthdays. You don't get to celebrate 2 birthdays because when you switch it, it's the same.
You should talk to somebody about that.
Right? And then we have 13 months and not 12. So
oh, I was reading that. Yeah, that's so interesting.
Yep. Yeah. Oh. So just cool little things that you find that you kind of forget when you're living in another country or like so used to like the Western world. Mm-hmm. But it's pretty cool. I can't wait for you guys to visit.
I know. I
love it. Another cool thing is when you guys travel and you get to see the countryside, there's a lot of like different historical landmarks and places that I would think that you guys would love.
And we were reading about the rock churches and
that's one thing I did when I went back the first time. We did a road trip and we saw all the rock churches and different castles, like some castles that have been burnt down, and then it's just when you walk into the church you see like old books and old paintings, and it's just beautiful. It's like opens you up to a whole new world.
So cool.
I know, so excited.
Finally, I do actually have one more question. Are there any desserts that are really typical in Ethiopia?
Any what? I'm sorry?
Desserts.
Yeah,
it seemed like there are a lot of kind of spicy, savory foods, but I didn't find too many desserts, so I was curious.
Right, dessert-wise, that's actually a good question. In my family, we do a lot of bread, like breaded stuff. So we have the dabo bolo that you made. Dessert-wise, though,
not too many sweets.
Not too many sweets that I know of. I'm sure there's some out there, but in my family, our sweets are more like flan and other cultures, or like even like dates.
Oh, uh-huh.
But yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I can't come up with one right now.
Yeah,
It's so
no,
fun.
fine. I was just curious because it seemed like it wasn't a super sweet, heavy culture. So, I
Yeah,
guess coffee ceremony, you guys use quite a bit of sugar, correct?
yeah. Well, yeah. Again, it depends on different cultures. Some cultures drink it with salt, and then some cultures drink it with
Salt.
yeah. So
Wow,
I'm
cool.
telling you, that's why I love the whole country, because every region that you go, something that you would find normal in one tribe is so out of, like, it's so different in another tribe. So it's kind of like having the same thing but just different forms as you go around. But yeah,
Is
we have
it pretty universal across the country, or having a coffee ceremony?
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's actually, I can say, like, that's the one thing like Injera that's common around. And then with different cultures, they have different ways of doing it, but the idea is still the same.
Yeah, so neat. And it seems like it's so welcoming and hospitable.
Very, because that's kind of a way of like kind of welcoming your guest in and just feel like I have a whole ceremony around something that we love and cherish so much, which is coffee. And then it's like, welcome.
And
Sit down and
take hours to do, is that right?
oh yeah, they have to do, like, well, my family, there's this thing, I don't know where it comes from, and I'm sure it's historical and cultural, but you have to do 3 rounds.
Huh?
So they make coffee, they drink one, and then there's the second one, and then there's the third one. Like, you just sit there and you're just like drinking shots of coffee, like espresso. It's so normal, but if you're not used to that, you'd just be hyper at the end.
Totally.
And we also have incense that they
Okay.
again, different cultures, different incense, but they also add that during the coffee ceremony. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's very cool. How fun. Well, thank you, Rudy. This was so lovely to get to talk to you and learn more about Ethiopia.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hopefully I answered all.
Yes, this was amazing. And tell me, how do you say goodbye in Amharic?
So the modern way of saying it is ciao, but that's from Italy.
Yeah.
But depending on who you're saying bye to, different sexes, genders have different endings to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're saying have a great day, you can say, like, as a whole, you guys can say denawalu.
Danawalu.
Denawalu. It's like, have a great day.
Awesome.
Or if you're like specifically talking to a female, you can say denawai.
Okay.
And then if it's a guy, you can say denawal.
Okay, cool. But Walu is kind of
It's like as a whole.
Okay.
Yeah, just like denawalu, but mainly people just say ciao now.
Okay. Awesome. So, well, thank you again. It was so great chatting.
Anytime. And then let me know whenever you guys have questions. I'm here.
Will do. Thanks again.